Welcome to another edition of Winners Get Money, Season 2, Episode number 10. What's up, you guys? I'm James Myers. Say what's up, David.
What's up, everyone?
Let's go. Let's get into this. Yeah, week 10. Episode number 10. We're jumping into college football week 12. We got NFL week 11 coming up. You guys know the drill. We are Winners Get Money. We're sports cappers, trying to win you guys some money. We're going to talk about what stood out in week 11. We'll recap our best bets from college football. And then we'll talk about what stood out week 10 in NFL. We'll recap those best bets. Then we'll jump into best bets for week 12 of college football. And then we'll jump into best bets week 11 for college football. So what do you think, man? What stood out in week 11? We made a couple notes. We put Georgia lost bad to Ole Miss. Obviously, we have the new playoff rankings. And then BYU escapes again in what you call the Holy War. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I guess we can start with Georgia, but yeah, Georgia showed nothing in that game. Ole Miss kind of just controlled it the whole way through. Yeah, it was just one of the games. I think we'll go ahead and recap it, but I was on the wrong side of that one, and
We
it
both
just
were.
yeah, it happens. Yeah, I mean, we just expected more out of Kirby Smart. Like a Kirby Smart coach team. You know, at that point, you have one loss, go to Ole Miss, like, hey, here's a good resume builder for you. They go to Ole Miss and they lay an egg. So um yeah, this college football playoffs pretty I guess wide open, I guess you can say, just
Mhm.
because everyone's kind of beating up on everyone and this whole new like football playoff rankings and everything. Like it's just everyone's in it. People like, there might be two, three, probably two lost, not two lost teams, but two lost
Mhm.
teams. Does a three lost team get in? Like we don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's insane, dude. Yeah, we got Oregon. I'll go over it real quick. I got pulled up. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4. Ugh. Indiana 5, BYU 6 because they hung on. Tennessee 7, Notre Dame 8, Miami 9, they dropped. Bama 10 moved up 1. Ole Miss jumped into the picture. Did Georgia go 12 or was it Boise State?
So in the ranking, Boise State's a 12 seed right now,
Uh-huh.
even though Georgia's ranked 12.
Okay, yeah, freaking the Athletic
So
says that.
so those rankings are correct, but it's just the way with like the conference champion and the buys and everything.
Uh-huh.
Oregon's still the one, Texas is the two, and then BYU technically is a three seed right now with the
Oh, I
buy,
see it right
and then
here on
Miami's a
ESPN.
four. Yeah,
Should just
so
should just went on ESPN. Yeah. Thanks,
all
Athletic.
reliable.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. And then first team out is Georgia. Second team out is one of my favorites in SMU. Kind of a bummer. They went backwards and they won. It's crazy. But
Yeah.
anyway, going back, and then let's talk about the Holy War. Wild game. BYU escaping again. The Utah athletic director after the game said he wants those referees investigated for the Big 12. Pretty crazy. I saw they had 2 sacks in a row and kind of a holding call that bailed them out. I don't know. Did you see more of it, or what did you
Yeah.
think?
Yeah. So yeah, I saw the final like half of the fourth quarter. And yeah, BYU, they're like, on their own five, driving just to get a field goal range to win it. Get sacked at the one. Might have been a safety. I mean, it was pretty close. A lot of people are saying like they could have been a safety. Then yeah, fourth and 10, and then get sacked, bailed up by the holding call. A lot of people are saying like, I guess if you kind of look at the replay, I mean, it was a defensive holding. Um, People aren't happy about it. I mean, for sure the Utah. Um, was it the 80 or the coach? I don't remember now off the top of my head,
80,
but
80.
the 80,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So the 80, yeah, he wasn't happy about it. But I think if you look at the replay, it was the right call.
Mhm.
Probably not the right situation. I guess. I mean, if you're Utah, like you feel bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they had that first down, and then after that, the game. I think they got like two chunk plays, and then they're in field goal range, and that's pretty much all she wrote. But
It's
BYU just playing with fire every week.
Yeah, it seems like they're just on edge at the end of the game every week, a chance to lose. I remember that Oklahoma State Wild game. They almost lost at home where they scored on like 5, 10 seconds left in the game to win it. Pretty crazy. Yeah, and then Bama, real quick, we'll make this one quick too. Bama ran all over LSU, blew them out at LSU. It was literally just, hey, drop the middle with Jalen Milroe from the shotgun and see what we can do. It was insane. It looked like a video game. It was wild. What do you have, like four rushing touchdowns or something like that? Crazy.
Yeah, he
It
went
was
for like 140 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns. Like he just went off.
yeah. Yeah, LSU might be all done. I saw Brian Kelly was arguing because they were getting smoked at the end. He was arguing with an official because Bama was still blitzing, even though LSU was trying to score when they were already down 3 touchdowns. Sorry, dude, this is Division I college football athletics. Like, get over it, Kelly. It's crazy to me. Anyway, let's jump into our best recap. We'll recap our best bets from college football week 11. I'll start us. I went 2-1, another winning week. Overall, I'm 15-9. I won on Kansas +3. I've been riding these guys. I like the Jayhawks. Colorado -4 has been a great team for covering too. And then we were both on Georgia -2.5 and a loss. We went square with them. We even said it before. We knew it was square, and we still took it. And we got on the wrong end of that. Your recap.
Yeah, a goose egg. After 3-0, you give it all back and go 0-3. So, sick. But yeah, I mean Vanderbilt, public dog. I forgot who, someone on Twitter that I listened to like their podcast. They were saying public dogs are just dogs with fleas, and Vanderbilt was a dog with fleas. Like
Yeah.
everyone was on him. Like I mean, I thought Vanderbilt was going to put up a good performance. Thought South Carolina was going to come out a little flat after that Texas A&M win,
Mhm.
and South Carolina just they came out there and they played good ball. So props to them. Took the L there. Georgia, you recapped it. Took the L there. Is what it is. And then probably the worst player of the year was Florida +22.5 because that game was done after the first quarter. I
Yeah.
checked it was like 14-0, and I was like, all right, like we'll see. Checked it at halftime, it was like 35 to something. I was like, yeah, this game's done. So
Yeah.
terrible pick. Probably should have paid attention more to Florida playing Georgia that week before, and it being a little
Mhm.
bit more of a look ahead spot than Florida, playing I guess decent ball. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Florida's really banged up too.
yeah,
I saw a little bit of it. They have a lot of injuries. I think they're in their second or third string quarterback. They got a lot of guys. They're rotating. Anyway, what
yeah.
else were you gonna say?
No, yeah. So I mean, you just kind of those data points you take and remember for the weeks to come and all that. So I guess it's all learning experience as you go through, but it was just a grind. 12 weeks in the college football and just can't get over. I get over the 500, I come back under. So yeah,
We'll
we'll
get
we'll
there.
continue
We'll
to
get you.
grind.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll be there. All right. Let's jump into best bets for week 12. Let's not keep them waiting. Again, do you want me to jump in or do you want to go first?
You can jump in.
Okay. Week 12 again. First play, best bet for me. We're going to go with the Sun Devils. We're going Arizona State +8 at Kansas State. Both teams are 7-2. We check schedules. Arizona State they've been kind of a sleeper team lately. Again, I'm fading this Kansas State team. I think I've faded them at least 3 times on 3 of our shows. I had them I had Kansas against Kansas State 2 weeks ago. Kansas probably should have won at Kansas State. I don't think at Kansas State's such as big of a home field advantage as people may think. I'm getting more than a touchdown here. I think teams are kind of closer than what people believe here. They're well coached. I can't think of that coach's name, but they are playing for this guy. He's a young coach too for Arizona State. I got to look up his name, but we're gonna go with the Sun Devils here. They do have. Oh, who was it? We were just talking about. Who does Arizona State have next week too? It's another big
BYU.
game. But we think, I mean, they're 7-2, you never know. Obviously, they're not a top ranked team, but this could get them into a big time bowl game if they win out Arizona State. I don't think they'll make the playoff even if they win out, but who knows? Maybe they'll have a chance in the Big 12 championship if they win out somehow. I have to see how the schedules align. But yeah, we're going to go with the Sun Devils here. Your thoughts while I look up this coach's name. I forget.
I think it's like Dillingham or something. I want to say it
Mhm.
might have been, but yeah, Arizona State. Like you said, they're a sleeper. They remind me a little bit of like last year's Arizona Wildcat team.
Kenny
Just
Dillingham.
there it is. Okay. Yeah, they kind of remind me of the Wildcat team from last year. Just a sleeper playing good football. I mean, Arizona State they played and beat some pretty good teams this year. So um, I do think Kansas State's a little overrated. I mean, I feel like we probably said it a couple times
Mhm.
this season, but I think just 8 points is just too much here. And Arizona State does have BYU next week at home, so I mean they're obviously going to be looking forward to that game. But um, is it a look at spot? I mean, I guess you have to play to kind of find out. But I think this Arizona State team's good enough to keep this within the 8.
Yeah, Kenny Dillingham, dude's 34, really young. So he was the guy. It's funny. A few weeks ago, I remember. I think they lost the game, or it was really close. And he goes, "We're gonna have open tryouts for a kicker. If
Yeah.
anyone wants to come off the campus and try out, you can." Just funny. This dude's a character, but they're playing for him. I mean, he's flipped this team a little bit. I mean, Arizona State a few years ago was a laughing stock in college football. Now, I mean, he's got a 7-2, so it's pretty impressive. Anyway, we're going with the Sun Devils +8. Your best bet of this week.
Yeah. So we're gonna play one of, I guess, your favorite teams the last couple of
Mhm.
weeks, but we're gonna go Kansas. Opened at like 3.5. I saw some threes. Now it's down to 2.5 when we were recording. So Kansas 2.5 at BYU. Um, yeah, I mean, I think every time I faded BYU this year, I've lost. So we're due eventually. I mean,
The
this
odds are in your
Kansas,
favor.
yeah, eventually you gotta hit one, right? Broken clock is right twice a day, right? So we'll look to get that here. But this Kansas team, 3-6, probably the best 3-6 team in the country, just because they're 0-5 in one score games.
It's
0 and
crazy.
5. Then that's like if you coin flip a couple of those games, they have a couple more wins. But this Kansas team, they're playing better. Daniels at quarterback has been looking good these last couple of weeks, scoring more. I think they're just playing more team football, and it's something that you really see earlier in the season. And on BYU side, it's just like, when is this, like what people call like the Mormon miracle? Like, when is it going to stop? Because like they come in every single week and they scrap all these games, and on the flip side of like Kansas being 0-5 in one score games, BYU's 4-0 in one score games. So it's like, how much longer can BYU continue to do this? I mean, even this line's 2.5. So even if BYU does pull off like a miraculous comeback or close game win, like Kansas will be in there hanging in and we'll get the cover. So yeah, we'll see how the game should be a good game for sure in Provo.
Definitely. Yeah, this is definitely one of the bigger games of the weekend. Kansas, like you said, they have been playing good ball. Last four games, they lost by 4 to Arizona State at Arizona State, smoked Houston, lost by 2 to Kansas State in a game they probably should have won. And then they put up 45 on Iowa State last week and won outright. We were on Kansas last week. So yeah, last 4 or 5 weeks, they are playing really good ball, Kansas. So this is the time to jump on them. I think they've covered in all 4 games too, which is pretty impressive. So why not? I mean, 4-0 in their last 4 against the spread. Why not make it 5-0? I like that. Okay, moving on. So if you don't like betting dogs, don't jump on my end this week. We're going Wisconsin +14 versus Oregon. We're going against the #1 team in the nation. I just got a feeling Wisconsin's going to keep this close. I think Oregon just playing with fire, and I think Oregon's kind of cruising now through their schedule, trying not to get too banged up. I think they already know they're in the playoff. I know they want, obviously, if they just win, I've realized with Oregon as well, I don't think they need to blow out anybody anymore. I think as long as they just win out, they're going to get the 1 seed. I don't see how Oregon doesn't. I think they're the only. Wait, yeah, Ohio State beat Ohio State, so there's no way Ohio State could ever jump them. Even if there's just no way. So I think Oregon, as long as they coast through these last couple games, they'll get it done. I think Wisconsin, just as Wisconsin, it's a tough place to play. I remember they played Bama. Bama struggled in the beginning. Maybe this is a first half play, but we're gonna go with the Badgers here +14 against the Ducks. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this, like you said, Oregon, they don't have to win by margin. It's not like one of those where there's only 4 teams that'll make the college football playoff, and you have to
Mhm.
start beating these teams, convincingly. You don't have to here. I mean, Oregon, you're the #1 team. You just got to take care of business. I mean, they're going to tell you like, oh, we don't care about spreads. They just want to go out there and win, stay healthy, like you said, each week, and then just kind of keep it rolling through until the playoffs start. So, um, yeah, 14 just seems like a number Wisconsin kind of hang around with. You mentioned it, home field advantage. I mean, Wisconsin, regardless of how good or how bad their team is, those fans show up. Could be good atmosphere for sure. 4:30 game, so it's a night game. 4:30 us our time, so 3 hours ahead. 7:30.
Yeah, so it'd be a
Or is
night game.
Wisconsin?
I think it's
Wisconsin
2.
3.
They're
I think it's
Central
2. They're
Time.
Midwest, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
6:30 start.
Mm.
Um, so yeah, I mean the place will be rocking. The whole jump around and everything they got going on over there.
This
But
is this is their biggest, not to cut you off, but this is their biggest game left on the season. This is it because they get Nebraska and Minnesota. So this is
yeah,
it. I mean, if they want to, some teams like to play spoiler, and this could be spoiler right here. You give Oregon their first loss. You never know. So Oregon could come in and overlook them. And yeah, so we're gonna ride with the Badgers here plus 14. Your
Yeah,
next
I think the
play.
thing too,
Okay.
just real quick, yeah, with when they played Bama, like you said, they kept it close first half, but then they just got worn down in the
Mhm.
second half. So it's like
And
maybe Oregon
also,
just
mhm.
I would say maybe
Uh,
Oregon just doesn't care to kind of like, win by margin post second half, you know what I mean? So maybe that Wisconsin defense won't be as worn down if they, can stay off the field. So yeah,
I didn't mention. I forgot to mention in that game against Alabama. Yeah, the starting quarterback went down for
yeah,
Wisconsin, the first play of the game, I think. So they were playing with a backup who had no experience that whole game going into that. Now he's got like 4 or 5 games under his belt. So the offense has looked better in the past few weeks. So I don't think the offense will be as limited, if you will. So yeah, Wisconsin here.
all right. Next play, Colorado minus 11 and a half at home against Utah. Um,
You,
I think this is probably like one of those games where you just have two teams going in opposite directions. Colorado's been playing good football, and I just this looks like one of those games that they just might blow out Utah. And on the Utah side, came off that BYU game, high emotion game, rivalry game, played their heart out, heartbreaking loss. Like, who knows how like if you're a Utah player, like who knows how like not how pumped up, but how ready you are to come out this week and play at Colorado. So Utah, the defense is good. I do think the defense will kind of get worn down. Colorado on offense, they're you know best in the country, with Sanders and all that. So,
mhm.
Colorado has been winning, not by margin, like against bad teams. So I just 11 and a half just seems a little low here. So I can see like a two touchdown win here for sure.
Yeah, I like the play as well. I think you make a great point with two teams going in opposite directions. I think Utah's biggest game was last week against BYU. How they got hosed. We already talked about it. Colorado, huge win. They did struggle in the beginning against Texas Tech, but they showed resiliency and came back and put it on them actually, and ended up covering actually easily. They were down, I think, early,
They're
but
done
like
early.
10 to 14 points they were down, and just shows how good that offense is. Shador, say what you will about them, Prime and all that, but their offense is clicking. Gosh, I know I say it every week, but dang, they have surprised me this year. I just did not think Colorado would be that good this year, and how they have surprised the whole country probably. Yeah, I think Colorado's the play here for sure. That offense is a good enough offense to where you can cover a big spread like this with 11 and a half at home. Because I mean, they only have 2 losses too. I mean, we forget that point. Colorado could be playing for the playoff. If Colorado wins, heard yesterday too. If Colorado wins out, I mean, they're playing in the Big 12 championship. You don't know, and then you make it a chance where they could have a chance to make the playoff. I think they're at like 18 or 19, number 19 or 18 in the
They're
rankings.
around there. Yeah.
Yeah, so win out and just control your own destiny, and you get in if you win the Big 12 championship. So no reason
Yeah.
they would lay an egg here.
Yeah, the thing too, I think if you just look, kind of fast forward to seeing them in the Big 12 championship, I think this Colorado team is just built for the Big 12. Like the Pac-12 when they were in the Pac-12, the, defensively, like Pac-12 teams a little bit better, like at the line of scrimmage. And this Big 12, like it's just defense is optional in this
Mhm.
conference, and it just totally favors Colorado. So, I mean, maybe take a flyer on Colorado to win the Big 12. I think they're plus like 250, plus 300
Yeah.
last week. So,
Who's
yeah,
favored right now?
I have to double check to see, but
Who's-
okay, I can't
Okay,
think of the top of my head who's the other
I
Big
get it.
12 team
Go
right
ahead.
now. But yeah, I mean, it might be something just to kind of look into. But yeah, that's my second pick of college. So,
Okay,
what do you got?
let's do. Yeah, we're taking another dog here, like I mentioned. This is just another fade against Iowa State. This is all this is. We're taking Cincinnati plus 9. We're gonna go Cincinnati plus 9 at Iowa State. We think Cincinnati, they have been in every single game this year, just about. They're actually playing good football. I don't see why. I think these teams are a lot more even than people realize. I think people have finally figured out Iowa State might be overranked. I don't know if the books are accustomed to it yet, but I don't see Iowa State being. I think it's just too big of a spread. I'm getting more than a touchdown here. I'm almost getting 10. I mean, Cincinnati almost hung. We just talked about how good Colorado is. Lost by 11 to Colorado at Colorado. They beat Arizona State, coming off a loss against West Virginia. Yeah, but West Virginia has been kind of scrappy. But I think they'll be up for this game. Going to Iowa State, and Iowa State they just haven't been that impressive. I don't. There's no confidence in that team anymore. I think they're kind of crushed now. They've lost two in a row now.
Two straight.
Iowa State, and they know they're done now pretty much for the playoff because their strength of schedule's poor. They lost to Texas Tech and Kansas, who we were on last week. So we're gonna fade Iowa State again this week, and we're gonna roll with the Bearcats +9. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those games where, I mean, is it another one of those like wrong teams going in the wrong direction or opposite directions? Cincinnati, they've been playing pretty good in the last couple of weeks, so they'll be up for this game for sure. And on the Iowa State side, like you said, two straight losses. Like, how much more is left in that team? So yeah, it's at home. Yeah, Iowa State probably wants to have like a good home performance, but I just think Cincinnati keeps this one within the nine.
Yeah, you mentioned it's funny we were talking about Big 12 standings. It's BYU.
Yeah, I looked it up right when you started, and I was like, how did I forget about BYU? Which
I
is the whole
know.
like conference realignments. Like, I forget, like who's in
Mhm.
what. Um, but yeah, BYU and then Colorado, and then it's like the Arizona. I think Arizona State's like three or four,
Yeah,
and everyone
Kansas
else is
State.
kind of
Yeah.
like tied. Yeah, but yeah, I
Mhm.
mean, I don't know how we totally just I
A
probably
lot of
thought
teams we're
BYU
talking about, we forget. It's a lot of teams to
BYU like
remember.
wasn't BYU independent for like a year or two or
Yeah,
something
and then
too,
they
and just
joined,
like
and
yeah, so yeah, we'll get to know all or remember all the teams in the different conferences now. So
a lot more teams than NFL. Your last play, dude.
yeah, we're gonna go back to the team I think we've talked about the last couple of weeks. South Carolina minus 13 and a half versus Missouri. South Carolina burned me last week. I tried to fade them. But the South Carolina team could easily be a one loss team. If
Yeah,
they don't lose against Bama, we keep saying don't lose to Bama, don't lose to LSU. Like they're in the picture for the playoffs. So they're a good team. Last weekend's Vanderbilt, they took care of business. Defense is just electric. Yeah, pretty much how it's been all season. And then on the Missouri side, they had high hopes going into the season. We were talking about them like, hey, like watch out for this team. Quarterback went down. They've been banged up by injuries, and um, just on the Missouri side, like they had that I want to say kind of fluky win last week against OU.
they
I
did.
think they were down
Definitely
six. They
fluky.
scored very fluky. So like
A lot of
this
scooping
Missouri,
scores.
yeah, a lot of stupid scores. So they probably should have lost to OU, and South Carolina just went into OU and they handled business a couple weeks back. So um, that Missouri, if Missouri does lose, I mean, I guess you can say on paper they won, but if you watch the game, OU had them beat.
Yeah.
So I don't see anything different here from South Carolina. Um, I think they just continue to take care of business. I don't know how Missouri's going to score more than 14 points here.
Yeah, I agree. So you want to hear a wild stat? This is the ending of that Oklahoma Missouri game. So Oklahoma 43-yard fumble, scoop and score. They go up 7, and then Missouri ties it, and then Missouri wins with 22 seconds left on a 17-yard scoop and score by 7. So it was a very misleading cover. I also saw the Missouri coach. He told the reporter after the game, he's like, "We're still alive for the playoff. We only have 2 losses. We're alive." So I think they're gonna find out the hard way this week. There's a reason why this spread is what it is. I think Missouri's a very average football team now, and just you don't know what you're getting from the quarterback position anymore. I mean, when they go against good competition like Bama, I mean, they almost got shut out. So South Carolina is a way step above uh, Oklahoma. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm with you on that. Anything else on that?
No, I think it pretty much wraps up college this week.
Sweet. Let's jump to the National Football League. Let's talk about anything that stood out in week 11. My notes are bad right now. Bears lost again in New England. Chiefs stay undefeated on a 35-yard blocked field goal against Denver. They were in that game the whole way, needed to make a 35-yard field goal. I couldn't believe it. I don't understand it half the time. I just don't. Because a 35-yard field goal today is an extra point after you score a touchdown in NFL. Now all of a sudden we're blocking it. I mean, what is this, Pop Warner? And then I'll mention Detroit again. I know we talk about Chiefs and Detroit, but they're the two best teams. I mean, sorry guys. Detroit wins after Goff throws 5 interceptions. Just something to keep in mind. And in Houston, I watched most of that game. That was the most football I watched. That most football I watched for the NFL was that Sunday night game. That was a really good game. Just shows how good Detroit is, though. Goff throwing 5 picks and they still end up winning it. It's pretty impressive. Anything stood out to you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, you hit it with the Chiefs. They just keep winning. It's just the weirdest ways. Like they win. Like they should have lost who knows how many games now. Um, I want to say I wouldn't say it's a stat, but every time they've been down more than 7 points, I mean, this year obviously they're undefeated. They come back and win. So if you're live betting and you see the Chiefs go down 7, just bet them because they're gonna
Yeah,
come back and win every time.
it's insane.
Um, so yeah, that one for sure surprised me. And then we had the Lions just what a crazy game. I mean, Goff again. Was he like 4-0 now every time he has like 4 interceptions? So
It's crazy. What a stat.
yeah, what is that there? And then other than that, the NFL, I'm trying to think what else kind of stood out to me this week.
Bills have been good. They still look
Bills,
good. Eagles have looked kind of hot too. Eagles are looking pretty good too. They're healthy now.
yeah,
Eagles on
they're healthy.
offense look way better when everyone's there and healthy. Eagles on offense are kind of dangerous when they got all the pieces, especially with Saquon. He makes a big
Yeah.
difference now. Now you're seeing the real impact. It's pretty impressive. We good there? Start with a
Uh,
recap.
yeah, you go ahead and recap first.
Okay. I went 1-2, losing week this week. The only one I won Bills Colts over 47. Yeah, I was terrible play with Dallas, Cooper Rush. That was just horrendous. Sorry about that. That was just pathetic. Yeah, Cooper Rush did not show up. Lost Dallas plus 7.5 to Philly. And then we both lost on the Jets -2. The game was over from the jump after the first quarter. Jets are just done. They're a dumpster fire. I don't even know what to make. Because I'll admit it, I do like Rodgers, but just they built that entire team around him and all his requests and what he wanted, and they fired Salah. That didn't make a difference. I didn't agree with the firing of Salah, and they're just a dumpster fire. I mean, I think they're 3-7. They're just
Three and
bad.
six, I think.
3-6, something like that. They're just bad, man. They're bad. I don't understand it. The
Three and
defense is.
seven.
You know what's crazy is they had a better record at this point of the season with Zach Wilson last year than they did with Rodgers. But I will say the Jets defense has been a lot worse this year than last year. That Jets defense was elite last year. It's fallen off. People are calling for Sauce Gardner to lose his nickname Sauce. They're calling him Ahmed now. Ahmed Gardner, I saw. So, yeah, anyway, that puts me at 12-10-1 overall. Sorry for my little Jets rant. Anyway, your recap.
Yeah, another. Just, the NFL just continues just to kick me. 1-2. Steelers 2.5. Good win. Um,
That was a wild win.
Wild win.
Yeah.
Wild good win.
Mike
Also the
Williams. We mentioned it last week in the pod. Mike Williams, the big addition, catches the
Yep.
game-winning touchdown. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just like the Steelers. That's what they do. These tight spreads, they just cover them.
Yeah.
So yeah, good win there. But then the Rams just no showed Monday Night Football.
Hmm.
Um, I thought we would get a better performance from the Rams, but I mean, now you look back at that Seahawks win, maybe a little fluky or more. Seattle lost that game more than the Rams won it. But yeah, they didn't show anything. I mean, it seemed like Miami just wanted it more, to keep their season alive. The Rams season's still alive, but yeah, it just they laid an egg. So we'll forget about that game. And then the Jets, you nailed it on that rant. It's just everyone expected more out of them,
Yeah.
and it's just the most disappointing. I keep seeing a meme. I think that the Jets they're 3-7, and the Patriots are 3-7.
It's
So they're
crazy,
like,
dude.
so there's a meme where it's like, oh, like worst team in 25 years or whatever, and it shows like 3-7 Patriots, and it's like most hyped up anticipated season for the Jets in the last 25 years, and 3-7. So it's
It's
like,
insane.
yeah,
It's just crazy.
but
Yeah. But
but overall, yeah, 8-11-1. Not a good start to NFL, but we have what are we in week 11? We still got 7 weeks to get over 500, get that 55% that we're all looking for. So yeah, we'll continue to grind.
okay. Let's do week 11 best bets. Little short on time, so we're gonna go through these kind of faster. You want to start us off?
Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna go back to Steelers.
Yeah.
+3 against Baltimore. Just pretty much the handicap is just Mike Tomlin, and you could probably that's all I really have to say here. But yeah, divisional game. You know, every time Steelers and Baltimore play each other, games are always super tight, and I want three here. Because it ends in a field goal. Okay, we push. Ends in one of those wacky scores that the Steelers try to ended up playing into. Lose by one, lose by two, win by one, win by two, kind of like how the Commanders ended off last year or last week. So yeah, Steelers, I mean, good defense, playing good ball. Baltimore's obviously Baltimore. You'll probably mention a little bit, but just like Baltimore's a little overrated on defense. I feel like Steelers can have that success on offense. Keep it close, because if the Ravens get into a track meet, it's like you don't want to get a track meet with the Ravens, but look for that defense to kind of keep Lamar in check a little bit here, and yeah, just be ready for a tight game.
Dude, literally with these two, yeah, I agree with Steelers +3 here. Literally, when you play if you bet this game, Steelers Baltimore anytime, just take the underdog. Don't think about it. It's insane how much the underdog. Listen to this stat. Since John Harbaugh got to Baltimore in '08, favorites of three or more in the Ravens Steelers games are 2-18-3 against the spread. 10% they cover the favorite. Harbaugh himself is 0-10-2 against the spread when favored by at least a field goal versus Pittsburgh. So you take the Steelers, or if the Ravens were the dog, you take the Ravens. Just don't overthink it. This game is just it's insane because on paper you're like, yeah, maybe Baltimore's a little bit more explosive, but no, it's just Tomlin and you just take the Steelers +3. There's not a lot more to say to it. It's
Yeah,
crazy because it happens every year and you go in overthinking it. I had Pittsburgh last year. Remember, I had Kenny Pickett and we shouldn't have covered, but they did. I remember Baltimore was dominating that game, but somehow Pittsburgh covered. It's crazy that rivalry. Anything else before we move
yeah,
on?
yeah. It was not the game where last year where like the Steelers they just came back in the fourth quarter, right?
Yeah.
Like they had no business coming back and
Mm-mm.
winning or covering whatever it was, and yeah. So that's just how these games play out.
It's
That pretty
insane.
much talks for itself. So
Yeah. All right, we'll jump into mine. I'll keep it quick. We're going big game hunting. This might be the biggest game of the weekend. Bills -2. It's pros versus shows. Telling you guys this right now. Everyone and their mom on the public is going to be on Kansas City in this game, guys. We're taking the Bills 2 at home, -2 at home in Buffalo. We think this is a tough spot for Kansas City, barely surviving against Denver. We like Buffalo here. Buffalo's beaten Kansas City. This is when they beat Kansas City, is at home in the regular season. They don't beat them in the playoffs. Obviously, everybody knows that. I get it. Josh Allen's playing really good ball. Kansas City's just been escaping, like you mentioned earlier a few minutes ago. We're taking the Bills -2 here. Your thoughts? You're on this game
uh,
as well. You want to mention
yeah,
that? Yeah.
yeah. It's one of my games too. But yeah, you said it. Pros versus shows. Every Swifty, every public, everyone's going to be on the Chiefs here. So the Bills, like a lot of people were kind of like writing them off early in the season, saying, "Oh, this is a playoff team. Might not be a playoff team." But I mean, Josh Allen, MVP candidate, playing good, and this is like you said, this is the time where the Bills kind of come out and win. They beat them in the regular season. Playoffs obviously a different story, but this is just one of those games where the Bills they've had this circled for a while, so they want to kind of prove that they're the cream of the crop of the AFC. So Bills -2.
Sweet. All right, your next play.
Yeah. My next play here, it's an ugly one. It's an ugly one, but Dallas +7.5.
Oh,
It's disgusting. Monday Night Football at home against Houston. There's going to be no, sun in CD Lamb's, eyes this week. Um, that's crazy how they made that stadium the way it is, but with the whole glare. But I mean,
yeah.
it's for another time. But yeah, I mean Dallas, like it's just a good buy low opportunity on them. Getting 7.5 here at home. They just got spanked by Philly. I'm expecting a better effort here. At the end of the day, it's like this is the NFL. These 7, 8, 9, 10 point spreads, like they're tough to cover as a favorite. It doesn't matter who you are, I guess, unless you're the Lions. But Houston, they came off that bad
Oh,
Sunday night football game. Should have won it.
yeah.
I don't know how they gave up that game, but there was a stat too saying Texans second half they haven't won a second half
Hmm.
all year. So it's one of those games where Dallas kind of keeps it close first half, and then you just kind of like take your shot second half with Dallas covering here. But Cooper Rush, you probably hopefully get a better performance out of him. But yeah, we'll take the Monday night primetime dog 7.5.
Yeah, I was surprised too a little bit. I mean, obviously I was on Dallas last week. I was surprised by Cooper Rush's play. I thought he'd be better. Just because he's won games in the past with Dallas. I was very surprised actually. But I guess back then Dallas did have a better defense. But yeah, I can see the point. Houston just off a gut punch loss, giving up. picking Goff off 5 times and then losing. So they could come out a little flat. Dallas could take advantage. CD's playing. Obviously, you need him. They got to get that run game going and slow down the clock, milk clock and stuff, Dallas, to keep this within 7.5. So I'm off the game. I don't really have a huge analysis on this. Battle of Texas. We'll see what happens. But yeah, best of luck to you, man.
Yeah, I'll probably need it for sure.
Yeah. We're going to go. Yeah, we got a few minutes left. My next play, again, 3-0 on overs, guys. Got to do another over this week. Try and get 4-0. We're going to go Browns at Saints, 44.5 over here. Jameis off a bye. He's playing a weaker defense than he did against the Chargers before the bye. We like the Saints. Their offense looked better with Carr last week. In a dome, no weather issues, obviously. Guys, Cleveland will be a little healthy. What were you saying? Were you going to say something?
Oh, no.
Okay. And then Browns, so Browns coming off a bye. We like the Saints being able to score on this Browns defense. Browns defense isn't anything special. Saints defense is nothing special either. Atlanta was able to move the ball well on them. Even if you take the over here, Jameis is going to either throw some picks or he's going to throw some touchdowns here. I just believe you're going to get the good Jameis here, and maybe you'll get a couple pick sixes from him too. We'll see. But we're going to go with the 44.5 over here. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, this is a Winston revenge game too. So he probably wants to show out, but like you said, Winston's the most inconsistently consistent quarterback. He'll throw for a touchdown, he'll give him a pick six. So 44.5 just seems kind of low. You said Derek Carr is going to come back, so
yeah, he played last week. Yeah,
he played last week. Yeah, so the Saints offense just looked manageable. So they can put up 20s, hopefully 30s to get this really over. But I see a lot of points here for sure. So
yeah, a little track meet, and then so your last play was Bills -2.
Yeah. So
I'll jump to mine. My last play, it's a little spicy. We're gonna go Atlanta +2.5 at Denver. I just think Atlanta. I think that loss against New Orleans last week is gonna wake this team up. They know they can't be dropping games anymore, trying to secure the division. I think Denver just came, like we mentioned with Houston, kind of doing the same spot you're doing with Dallas. Denver came off just a brutal loss, getting a 35-yard field goal blocked. We think Atlanta comes in here fired up, and they're able to pull it out. I think Kirk will have a better game. He threw a couple balls, couple picks against the Saints. I was a little scratching my head at. But I know Denver's defense is legit. I ain't going to deny that. But I like this matchup here with Cousins versus Knicks. And I think Atlanta's defense shows up for this game, and they're able to squeak out the win here, maybe take the money line here. 3-point win. Also, Atlanta last week, too. People forget. Koo missed like 3 field goals.
Yeah.
Young-Ho Koo missed
worst game.
Yeah.
Worst professional, so.
And that ball booms in Denver, too. So if it comes down to a last-minute field goal, I think Koo will get it done. Anything else? Again, check us out at Winners Get Money on Twitter, TikTok, X, guys, and our YouTube channel, obviously. We appreciate it. My Survivor. Yeah, I switched it after Lawrence got hurt, so I switched to Minnesota, so I'm still alive in our $10,000 contest. We're going with Miami this week. Dolphins against the Raiders at home. I think they're laying 7, so we're going with Dolphins.
Yeah.
A little less than 120 people left, so pretty sweet out of 18,000.
It's crazy.
Yeah, dude. Anything else? I think we got a couple seconds.
Should pretty much wrap it up.